All right, let's see here. Waiting for it to load up here. YouTube, it looks like you are loaded. Rockfin, where are you, Rockfin? Come on, Rockfin. Rockfin, I believe in you. Rockfin's a little slow. All right, where's YouTube? YouTube is also a little slow. I guess we had a little bit of time off and it is showing. We had a little, although I did go up. Oh, there they are. They're both alive. Okay. All right, that took a little bit. That took a little bit of time. All right. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, good evening, good morrow, everyone in the future, Australia, New Zealand. How you doing? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the interview portion for the week. We are back. It was a fun tour, but I am very happy to be back. Was going to be back last week, but I had some personal stuff to deal with, so I am thrilled to be back. We are going to have a lot to talk about on headlines this week, by the way. The headline show will be on Thursday. And also, I'm going to have a new series under the Get Your News On with Ron umbrella. Going to be talking about more about that too. But this is the interview portion of the show. And I feel like with everything going on in the world now more than ever, it is super important to really try to take back your community. And we're going to be talking with someone who is trying to do just that. She is an activist and has quite a history. I'm really looking forward to talking to her and learn more about her. And she is running for mayor of Louisville, Kentucky, a city that I think very, very highly of. I love Louisville, so I'm really excited to learn more about her here. Please welcome to the show, Shameka Parrish-Wright. Shameka, how are you?
Hi, I am amazing. I'm excited, Ron.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm excited too. So, if you don't mind, I want to start learning a little bit more about you on your website, which we'll show it here,
Yes.
and we'll mention it a couple more times to folks before we log off here. But it's ShamekaParrish-Wright.com for anyone who wants to learn more. You mentioned in your bio that you had bouts of homelessness growing up. Can you talk about that? Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, I was one of those people that we consider to be chronically homeless, and it wasn't really drugs and alcohol. My mom was poor, and it made us move a lot. So I went to 17 schools and eventually 4 colleges, but moved every. It felt like every year we were moving, and sometimes in a bigger place, sometimes in a smaller place, sometimes even in an efficiency with 4 people. It just meant that my mom struggled a great deal as a single mother trying to provide. She lost her mom at an early age, so houselessness has been in my family for generations.
So, what was that like for you? Like how did that start to form your kind of view on the world? I mean, I'd imagine that was difficult. Like you're leaving friends all the time. Like,
Yeah.
did you feel like you didn't fit in, or like what was that like? Kind of describe that.
It was a I felt like every place that we moved, I needed to connect. I needed to learn people. I needed to learn really fast. I needed to know the way of the land so that we can operate. I can get my education, go home, and be safe as possible. It was really challenging. Here's the interesting thing. Thanks to social media, I'm still friends with a lot of those people that I met along this journey at different points in my life. And so I have to be genuine because these are people who knew me at my lowest moment and at my highest moment from elementary, junior high, and on. But it really made a difference transferring to all those schools. It made you grow up really quick. I even became a teenage mom at 15 years old. I experienced foster care for a little bit. I experienced living with my father, who was incarcerated 40 of his 56 years on this earth. And so it was a lot of transition, changing, making decisions, making life changing decisions at the brink of a moment, helping other people understand. Even when I was in a shelter, I helped more than 30 women move out to get their place. And then I was highlighted as one of those people who came in and got the work. So it taught me how to navigate the many systems that it takes to to be stable.
So let's fast forward then, and you decided to get involved electorally. Why mayor?
Yeah, this started even. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. So this back then, when I first started voting, I voted just because people died for that right. I if like your name, Ron Placone, I would have voted for you because you had a unique name, or yeah, a woman's name. I would have, because I just didn't know. I didn't have a political thought. as I went to college and I
Well,
started.
you might wanna be careful with that because when I think of Italian Americans in politics, I think of people like Rudy Giuliani and stuff
Oh
like that. So
yeah,
you may wanna not just, take a name
yeah.
like mine and just vote for that person.
Well, I'm better now. I mean, that was 18, 19. As I got older, I started learning that we have to be the change we seek and that local politics are everything. That things are going to happen federally. Sometimes we don't necessarily feel that, but the decisions that are made locally are something that we live and breathe and feel when we walk inside of our doors. So I see elections and voting as a tool for real change. And I decided this is where I needed to be. And my life has been about bringing people to the polls. I mean, you can't even come and get turkey dinner at my house if you haven't voted. My whole family knows that. I'm going to ask you, have you registered to vote? When was the last time you vote? And I've never missed an election. Going to all those schools, living in 4 states, coming in and making Kentucky my home. I've never missed a primary or a general election. I believe in practicing what we preach.
Well, the thing too, and I actually used to do a bit about this, which is on my first album, which was
Oh, okay.
recorded in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, 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 my first album, well, my first 2, I actually had an EP and both have been recorded in Louisville. But I always say, like, I do think voting is important. It's not the only tool in the toolkit of change, but
That's
it is
right.
a tool. There are
That's
many other tools that are very important too. But the one thing I do say about voting is our priorities are completely backwards. We think
yes.
that the most important is presidential, the second most important, midterms, and if you get to it, fine. If not, no big deal. Local. It's the
Yes.
other way around.
It is
Local
definitely
is
that.
by far the most important. By far. I'm
Yes.
not saying not to vote in the other ones. I think you should vote. I do encourage that.
Yeah.
But local is like that should be the one where it's like that's a freaking holiday and the
Yes.
city shuts down
The
and
city
you get
shuts
to know
all
the
the way
people.
down.
And it's totally not that way. And especially you look at what's going on right now. And I know I saw on your Twitter, you've been tweeting about what we got as of recent. For anyone who might not know what we're referring to, it looks like the Supreme Court is going to gut Roe v. Wade, which, wow, we're going to be talking about that a lot more on Thursday. But, you know, now more than ever, it's like, what can I do in my community
That's
to make
right.
sure my community is safe and cared for?
That's right. So it's going to be less about lines of difference, the state lines, the county lines, and more about the issues that unite us and connect us. And local politics are a way to directly deal with those issues. Ron, we had someone here in Kentucky. He was running for the House of Representatives. He literally won by one vote. Like they
Oh,
counted
wow.
it over and over. It was so many disputes, but he was a black representative and won by one vote. So when I tell people it's not about the electoral college when it comes to local politics, you really can make a difference. I talk to so many candidates who tell me, Shameka, I lost by 20 votes. I lost by 1,000 votes. Every vote matters. Every vote makes a difference. We just had a state representative, Katura Heron, who won by, I think, 1,250 or 91 votes, and her opponent got like 151 votes. That those decisions are so important. And now she is our first LGBTQ recognized, openly recognized person, and that's representing us, and a black woman in our state representative. So that tells you it's not just because someone is black, but it's all the things that they represent. I represent the most impacted mayoral candidate that Louisville has. I was the first to announce. Now I'm the only woman in this race. I'm the only black woman in this race. And that means something, but it's not just because I'm black, it's because I'm connected to all the issues. I've literally fought and been on the line with all these issues. And that matters to union members, that matters to houseless people, that matters to everyone that works on community organizations and boards.
How has the community of Louisville been responding to you so far? Because and let me just mention too, when I think Louisville, I really see a city, and I have a lot of love for Louisville, and I always have for many years. And because when I first started in stand up, Louisville was a place I went to fairly regularly, so I've really seen it change. I mean, just like Bardstown Road, I remember when there was like one restaurant and
Yeah,
the old Comedy Caravan, and that was it. Now that's like a little Brooklyn that y'all got going on
it
there, and and
is.
and it's really interesting to see that way that city is changing. And of course, when development happens, there are pros
Yes,
and cons. But I really think that Louisville as a city is, dare I say, just getting more progressive. Like
yes.
what's your assessment of that, and how have they been responding to you?
Ron, I moved here in the early 2000s, right before merger took place. And so for me, I've grown with that progressiveness. I was in college. I said, whoa, what is happening? And now when I talk to people in Anchorage, people in the Highlands, people in the West End and the South End, they tell me the things that merger helped and they tell me that how merger failed them. And so you're right. We're a developer strong city.
When you say merger, what do you mean by that?
So
I
there was
mean,
a merger of city government, city and metro
oh,
government. So make us a seven. We're now the 17th largest city. We're a medium classified as a medium large city, but that merger helped do that. And so now Jefferson County, Louisville Metro. So as I'm running for mayor, there are also 81 other small cities that some of them have their own mayor. But now as I'm running for mayor, this is the mayor of Louisville Metro. And that metro includes the outside of the city limits, but still within Jefferson County. So there
okay.
was,
So I didn't realize that. I mean, I
yeah,
didn't
it
realize
was
that
a huge
happened. I'm not.
merger.
Yeah.
So most cities, Ron, they have to run as a business because you need revenue, you need things coming in. And so most cities want to compete for the Olympics, right? Because that brings in a lot. They bid for big contracts and annual conventions and things. So the bigger you are, the more you can accommodate out of town guests, the housing, the hotel, retail industry, and we have bourbon industry here, as well as horses and derby and all of that. So
I've heard of it.
yeah, exactly. You cannot miss that. So now this is when our city comes alive. If you go outside now, it's just busting with people all over. And I love you talking about Brooklyn because I love Brooklyn. I've been to all the 5 boroughs, but I do love the way Brooklyn is set up. So yeah, so now everything is bulging but a lot of communities feel like they've been left out of the tourism dollars, the arts, the culture. They feel like gentrification is threatening our city and all river cities are really in danger of gentrification because life thrives around water. Everybody wants to work, eat, play, dance, and do all those things right where they live. And as you can imagine, climate change has made that even more of a reality for people. I don't want to commute across the county. So we had white flight from the West End, and now more people are coming back. So yeah, I believe everybody wants something shiny and new, Ron. They want to know that they can afford it when it's built. They want to know that they can participate. I believe in community building agreements. So communities know what's coming into their community and they have a buy-in, not just being sold, hey, this will be for you, but then they're priced out like what's happening in Smoketown right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's so we are kind of close by because I went to IU, so
Oh,
we
nice. My
yeah,
daughter's
yeah.
graduating from IU on May 9th. One of my
Oh,
daughters, yes.
give Bloomington my love. Give
I will.
Bloomington all my love, and you know, I don't know. I'm sure you already have your list of favorite places to eat there, but if you don't, and you want some recommendations, hit me up.
Will do.
I
Will
love that town. I love that town. But so what are some of the top issues that you would really be harping on as mayor?
government accountability, transparency. As you can imagine, we've been in the news for the last couple of years on what happened in the Justice for Breonna Taylor movement. Our LMPD has been linked to so much corruption, even sexual abuse of young kids. It's just so hard. And we keep changing the heads of the chief, but we haven't dealt with the inside issue. So public safety, when I talk about it, I'm talking about reimagining. Public safety is connected to health and equity. It's connected to housing and gentrification and houselessness, is connected to incarceration and all of those things. And so I want to help our city move forward in the best way possible, remove some of the red tape it takes to get things done. A lot of times our metro government is so convoluted with all these processes that people are not getting the services. As I knock on doors right now, Ron, some of those doors I'm about to step in a hole in their stairs, and they tell me, Shameka, when I call Metro Hall, I don't know who to talk to get help to renew my housing, to make sure my housing can be rehabbed and made livable so seniors can stay in place. So I'm trying to remove that. There was a gentleman that started one call to Metro Hall. That's all. I'm trying to reinvigorate that. I want people to get a direct answer, have regular meetings to understand what's going on, and be able to navigate their metro government in the place that they want to be. So that, and supporting our public education, as you can imagine, there's an attack on public education. There's an attack on Louisville because we are the economic generator for the whole state, and so we're one of only a few urban places, but we have rural problems as well. People not getting their needs met, opioid crisis. We have a lot of people who are trying to transition out of houselessness into stability, and there's just so many roadblocks. I'm here to clear those.
So, besides a really cool David Bowie song, what is what is changes?
Oh, I
Thank you for
love
indulging me on that one.
Yeah, and this is Tuesday, so I have to pay homage to Tupac. So Tupac Shakur, which is a hip hop artist, when I talk to my friends are like, "You're thinking about David Bowie." I said, "I am, and I'm also thinking about Tupac. He has a
Tupac,
song
yes,
called
he does.
Changes."
Yes, he
Yes, he does.
does.
So
Yes.
the changes mean that what we can feel. I don't go out here in the community and give these Miss America speeches and say I'm going to bring world peace and I'm going to do all these things because one mayor cannot do it all by themselves. It has to be done collectively. So I'm all about a collective approach and moving forward, opening up, being more transparent, and giving our residents, our people who immigrate here, our everyone a real opportunity to have the life that we all want. We all want a sense of comfort so we can build the memories that make life worth living so that our children have a future, so that climate change actions are happening right now and not in 2040, so that there's measurable goals with regular check-ins so that people know where projects are, where our money is being spent. Ron, I'm not banking on the ARC funding. Most of that money will be gone by the time my administration take hold. And guess what? If we don't do this right, my administration will be blamed for where it failed and where it didn't happen. So I'm pushing and I'm using my campaign and my platform right now to push for the things that we need right now. Because I brought these issues to the forefront, our candidates got to run on real issues, and I'm challenging them every time we have a candidate forum. I'm asking them, this is the value of having an activist and an organizer as a candidate. No more do we say they don't make good politicians. It's about us creating a better path forward with people who are closest to the problem being a part of the solution.
Well, and here's the thing, and I know, I mean, obviously you and I are on the same page when it comes
Yes.
to like local engagement, and I really want, more people to come around to this because, the thing I say on this show when I interview people, trying to make a difference electorally locally, it's like, look, who usually participates in local politics? Developers. Why
Yes.
do they do that? Because they
Yes.
know the power that they have.
Yes.
They know the sword that they wield. They're not doing it because they need the money.
No.
They make their money off the deals. They know the power it gives them. So it's like, of course, it makes sense for community organizers to be in those positions because they actually know what the community needs and they actually want to act for the community.
You are a godsend because that's what I say to people. And I said in a recent forum, and not in a disrespectful way, I said to our developer, our millionaire status quo candidate, who actually consulted with me to work on his campaign before he decided to run. I got this notion to run while in Georgia, door knocking on doors to get Warnock and Ossoff elected because when we failed to get Mitch McConnell out of office. And I was like, this is another way to reduce his power. That's what I mean when it's going to be less about those state lines. Knocking on those doors, Ron, they said, you drove all the way down here from Louisville, Kentucky to get out the vote. I said, yes, it's what I do. And it's my 44th birthday. And then when I was down there, that's when I got word that Chief Shields was being brought from Atlanta and was going to be our new chief in Louisville. And I said to myself, the only way we're going to be able to instill those changes, to take that protest to policy change, is if we have people who are willing to be bold, who are willing to listen to the people, who are willing to do whatever it takes to move us forward. And if we keep changing the heads and have somebody that's not connected, she's not going to understand. She didn't start as a beat cop. She don't know the relationships of the police. She has to start from a place where we didn't need somebody who was not experienced enough with Louisville. Louisville is too unique to just bring somebody in and say, hey, take this job and bring us healing and make us move forward. She is unable to do that. And I was upset about that. And so for me, it's about being passionate enough to stick my neck out there and to run, to be the example of the changes that we need. So you are a godsend to talk about that because I get the most questions. One, I knew my road was going to be long. That's why I was the first to announce. But the fact that I have to constantly prove myself, I have to tell people on social media sometimes, yes, I can add. Yes, I've managed millions of dollars. Yes, I've helped people start businesses. Yes, I've been on all. I feel like
Yes, I can add.
Yes, somebody was like, "Can you even balance the budget? Can you
Oh
add?
my
Can you
God.
subtract?" And I was just like, I would not be where I'm at today if I wasn't somebody that knew how to work around things, how to navigate the systems, how to bring people together from all backgrounds. So it's been a journey, but I feel like out of all the male candidates, because I'm the only woman, 12 of us, I'm the one who has to prove herself day after day after day. And I'm willing to do it because I believe in this so much.
So there are 12 candidates. You are
Yes,
the only female candidate.
yes.
Are you the only African American? Is it all white dudes and you?
It's mostly white dudes, but there is two black men that have stepped up as
Okay.
well on the Democrat side, and there's a black man on the Republican side. So there's four
Okay.
Republicans, and then there's 8 Democrats. And we have a closed primary, so only Democrats and Republicans can vote in our primary. But general is open up to independents, to anyone. But Ron, I had people who switch from Republican and independent just to be able to vote for me in our Kentucky primary. Now they'll probably switch back
Good.
because I understand all parties have failed us in many ways. So I respect
Yeah.
that. I've been a true Democrat since I was 18, but I understand the problems. And I'm not getting all the Democrat support because there's a status quo candidate, $1 million developer candidate in the race. So I'm running against the wind, Ron. But it's not, as a black woman in this country, it's not something I'm not used to.
Well, see that. I mean, I gotta say, and there's a lot of things we do wrong in California. Don't get me wrong, but one of the things I do like about Los Angeles in particular, our local elections are not partisan. So there's no parties with our local elections. Now, the flip side of that is that you have to get these endorsements from
Yeah.
like different democratic groups. Like it's something you just have to do. You don't have a choice. And so, I mean, I'm disenfranchised by all the major parties. I'm a lefty. None of them speak for me at all. But like I understand that candidates I like, they have to go get those endorsements from different
Yes.
democratic groups. Like they have to. It doesn't matter what they identify as. They have to get those endorsements. And then in California, we have like the other, like we have like the absurd side of it where you literally have Republicans, actual Republicans, not just they may as well be Republicans, but literal Republicans who will be like, yeah, but Democrats. Like so we get like it's kind of almost comically absurd here, but we don't have political parties for our local elections. So
I love that. California is a beautiful place. My
it
employer
is.
is based in LA. I work for the Bell Project professionally. So I'm a partnerships and advocacy manager for them. So I'm in LA a lot for trainings and I just love it. I mean, it's everything. I just can't afford it. It costs to breathe there. But I have too many kids. Now I got grandkids. And the same for Miami. My husband's from Miami. We lived there a little bit and I was just like, it's beautiful here, but it costs to breathe.
Beautiful.
But I will tell you, our state legislators, there was an effort, and then we think it was Republican based, that tried to change our local mayor's race to partisan. But that doesn't make sense if we have a metro council. We have 26 metro council districts, and they're all partisan. So I'm with you. If it's going to be partisan, nonpartisan, let it be nonpartisan all the way. But you can't just change the mayor's race and not change the council. And you're right about these endorsements. So the good thing is, people like me, I've been with our unions. I've traveled all over the nation. I've been from New York to LA to Florida supporting unions. I've been a union dues paying member, Local 227, food and commercial workers. I was work with Jobs with Justice. I was on the steering committee. I've done all these things, but they just rolled out these endorsements to the status quo candidate. And I sent letters. Rolf, who connected me to you, has been my union person to connect us to the unions. We sent out letters. We called them all. And I have the best track record when it comes to unwavering union support, Ron. And
they still just went with
this. Yes, some of them even said, Shameka, I'm sorry. When first our Metro Council president had announced that he was running, they said we just gave him a check and just gave him an endorsement. Their processes has been shoddy, and admittedly, it was frustrating because. And I'm now in Emerge Kentucky, which is a Democratic women's training group. And I said this in one of our meetings. I said the unions don't support progressive Black women or progressive women candidates enough for me. And so I got some feedback, but I live it, Ron. I actually live it and I see it here. I'm good friends with Representative Attica Scott, who's running for Congress. I worked with her with Jobs with Justice. We've done a lot of work in connection with unions, but I'm telling you, it's a block. So we have to work past that. I did get the fairness endorsement, People's Movement for Democracy, the young people with Sunrise Louisville, as well as a new group, Bear Grass Thunder, that focuses on yardens and gardens and all those things. I'm getting support from the endorsements from people groups who actually get out here and do the footwork. So I'm still in a good place with endorsements, but I did run for school board before. This is not my first time out the gate. but it was a special election. And then in that race, it was crowded. Out of 8, I came in second. And so I'm really pushing, Ron.
Well, why do you think, like, what's the reason? Was it just the people at the top of the unions who were like, "Oh, we're just gonna endorse our buddy, we're just gonna endorse the status quo candidate," and didn't really look at it? Were the union members consulted the way they should have been? What's the process there?
So it's definitely a grass top situation. I've talked to a
Mm,
lot of union members who just like, Shameka, I don't do everything that my union leadership says. I said that's why I'm still talking to all the union membership, because they don't necessarily, the leadership made a decision based on relationships and people that they know. I'm the one who will make sure that we have more
that's
union contracts, union maintenance contracts. I'm the one who showed up for the unions just last year during Derby. The ballet workers were about to strike. I was called, I showed up. And I've done that time after time over a dozen years for our local union. So for me, it was disappointing, but I'm not discouraged because the membership I know a great deal of different memberships and they understand what I'm running for. And I know I'm going to get a lot of union support. I even have police officers who are donating and supporting my campaign. I have people from so many backgrounds, and some people, Ron, because of those relationships, they can't publicly support me. But once we get through this primary, people will be able to feel like they can comfortably support me without getting retaliation.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's great, but that is so
I
frustrating
know.
because that's the one. I mean, one of the critiques that not all unions have, but some unions have, is that there's this huge disconnect between the people in them and the leadership, and now you're seeing it play out on a local level, which and this is a very common story, and it's a very
Yeah.
common unfortunate story where there's this huge disconnect. You're connecting with the members. That's great. That's awesome, but at the end of the day, this other candidate's going to get to put that endorsement on their flyer. General people are going to see that. And it is so infuriating. And then when you look at it big picture, we have a new union movement going on in the country right now that
We
is
do.
huge
This was
and
the
it's
time.
inspiring and it's
Yes.
awesome. And not only do we have to overcome 60 plus years of anti union propaganda, but we
Yes.
also have to overcome the corruption that does exist through like 100-year defanging process. And it
Yes.
is like it's coming at
They
you
had
from
a
all
time to
sides.
step aside to be so different, Ron. And it totally blew me away. I knew some now the big GLC, when they went neutral, the school board union went neutral.
Mm,
I see that. But the ones that just rolled it out with no process, that this it was really upsetting. But I'm encouraged to keep going, because guess what? When they made those decisions, members called me and said, Shameka, I'm sorry, I don't understand what's going on, but you have a great deal of support, more support than you realize, to keep going. So that's what I've been using, Ron. The universe has given me so many signs to keep going, and it is frustrating, but I will keep going because I know the people need a chance. They need to take a chance on change, but they're not really taking a chance because I have the most proven track record of showing up for the people. It's just that being a Black woman in this race and the gateway to the South, let's call it what it is. Louisville is the gateway to the South. I knew that's why I announced first. I threw the whole game off anyway by announcing last January. That meant everybody had to get their stuff together. And so what they're doing is calling in favors. We're still a pick up the phone, shut it down kind of town, even though we're trying to be an emerging city.
So I want to ask you about a specific thing because I believe I've come in contact with Ralph, who put us in
Yes.
contact. I think he's come to some of my shows before. We've met in person, and he's also a big municipal broadband advocate, which is
Yes.
something I'm really passionate about. Did he turn you on to
Yes,
that?
he
And
did. Now
okay,
he turned me on during when I was in so I was one of the lead organizers in the Justice for Breonna Taylor movement. I said I was in Justice Square was my idea. I brought our people together. I was also co-chair of the Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. So for the first time, Ron, I was in a place of I could use every resource to support the young people and support the movement. But even back then in 2020, right there in the middle of the Justice Square, Rolf brought about, he said he started talking about municipal broadband, the benefits of it, why that's the way we need to move. I was already connected to understanding and from my other work about the digital divide and how some communities are suffering and how tech jobs moving forward is our path forward, but we can't do it if we don't own our internet. We don't have a way to apply that. And I said, Rolf, yes, we can make sure all the bus stops have municipal broadband Wi-Fi. We can make sure you can charge your devices. You'll have solar panels on them. They'll all be brought up to code. And guess what? That will give us an incentive to catch the bus, because right now we're a car city. We're a car city, and so that is the struggle. I don't have an incentive to leave my car at home, Ron. But if I had municipal broadband Wi-Fi, I could charge my devices. I had solar power, the buses, all of that stuff was brought up to code, more routes. I would plan to catch the bus, and I want to have free, fair months to be able to do that. But yes,
Nice.
Rolf was, and when he said it, he had me at hello. I was like, this is the movie I've been waiting for. Yes. Let's do this.
Oh, good job, Rolf. That's awesome. Yeah, well, and another advantage that y'all have in Louisville is that you're not too far from Chattanooga,
That's right.
which is the model for the country, or one of the big models for the country on municipal broadband, which is why it's so popular in that region.
Yes.
Because everyone sees what Chattanooga has. Yeah.
I keep saying that. Like, why do we only look at, like, I like Nashville. It's a great city.
I lived there for a couple of years.
Oh, good. I like Cincinnati. It's a great city. I like Indianapolis. It's a great city. But there's other cities that are doing it better, and that are doing it well enough for us to say, let's build the context for Louisville and what we need. We're ready. We took control of our water. LG&E is just a big thing that we're going to have to figure out, because they kind of stand in the way of light rail. They kind of stand in the way of this. So we got to bring them to the table. But if we show the people power around looking at other best practices from places like Chattanooga and other places, I think that we're ready for that path forward. And we want to be a top-notch city. How can we do that effectively if we don't bring that up? When I travel and I'm going to places that have great Wi-Fi, like the bigger major cities, I'm like, why doesn't Louisville have this? We got Pittsburgh, who is doing some amazing things locally. So, like, I want to look at other cities. I want to build in more sister cities and brother cities. They don't all have to be sister cities, but build them in to make sure that we're building the life that we get to have here. The door is wide open. We're still a mayor strong city. This is why this race is so significant. And I know that even though if it's not making national news, people all over the world are watching this race, because while I was down there in Injustice Square organizing, I was having conference calls with people in Italy, with people in Canada, all over the world. And folks were still visiting even during that time. It wasn't that scary, because people were still coming in to say, how did you all do this? How are you so collective? How do you use mutual aid the way you do? How do you have your medics and all the support? It was because we brought people together. And that's why my tagline is, we get there together, because that is the only path forward, Ron.
I love it. Well, I thank you so much for stopping by on the show, and I wish you all the best in the world with this race, and I hope you pull a victory. Tell everyone where they can find you, where they can learn more, and tell everyone who might be in the Louisville area when they got to go vote.
Thanks for having me. I will be happy to come back, and I'm going to look up your comedy shows, so I'll have some questions after that. But you can go to ShamekaParrish-Wright.com. It's SHAMEKA. PARRISH Wright, WRIGHT.com. I'm on all social media as Season for You. I hide nothing. All my life has been out there, from getting locked up for domestic violence to my bail project work to 6 kids to grant. Everything about me is there. I'm trying to move us forward with a transparent way so we can focus on the needs of the people. We've done it the business way, and I include business. I have a small business. I know what it's like, but I'm trying to move the city forward and be an example for the South. So I'm running in the gateway to the South. I need your help. We will raise enough to win. We've raised enough to stay in the game, but please donate if you can. We're having a National Stump Day on the 13th, 14th, and 15th, because the primary is May 17th. So early voting starts May 12th. May 17th is the day. And Ron, I hope I can come back as mayor of Louisville and tell you how you helped make that happen.
I hope, yeah, absolutely. Let's plan on it, because I'll be looking forward to updates on the municipal broadband project.
Oh,
I'll be like, Shameka, when's the finish line? When's
happening right away, Ron?
It takes some time. I'll be reasonable, but
all right.
But I'll be like, how's it going? Thank you so much for doing this, and all the best, and here's to a victory. Cheers.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Take care.
Talk to you soon. Shameka Parrish-Wright, everybody. Check it out. Again, I'll show that website, And again, that URL is Shameka, Parrish, Parrish, Wright, WRIGHT.com. What a cool candidate, huh? That's the type of stuff that you like to see. People just trying to take back their communities, whether they do it electorally or whether they do it as an activist. I mean, I was put in touch with Shameka. I don't. I mean, I like Louisville; it's a cool city, but I'll admit, I live in Los Angeles. I don't really have the resources to be like, what's going on in the Louisville mayor race, But Ralph, who came to, I think I think Ralph was actually at the show where my album was recorded. I'm pretty sure he was there and we met there. Or maybe we met at a different show, but I'm pretty sure it was that one. But anyway, Ralph, who I met in Louisville, who's really into municipal broadband, who would keep me in touch with me about what he'd been doing with municipal broadband. And I'm pretty sure he's met with other officials already elected in Louisville. He turned me on to Shameka because he was doing some work for her. So, yeah, it's really cool. And it was really awesome to get to talk to her. And I hope she wins and she brings municipal broadband, which is city-owned internet for anyone who's newer to this show. Hope she brings municipal broadband to Louisville, among other awesome things. Guys, it feels good to be back. I have missed you all. I've missed this. It's good to be back. And we're going to be talking more about the issues of the week on Thursday. And holy shit, are we going to have a lot to talk about between Roe v. Wade and union activities and more union votes. And yeah, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot to say. And I tweeted about this, but I'll mention it real quick. I am going to do a new series called Expatriate, which is going to be all about resources that are out there should you be interested in potentially leaving the United States. I know that's a bit of a weird transition. We're talking about taking our communities back. And then there's also, well, if you want to leave, here's some information you should know. But again, someone tweeted me about it and asked me if I was leaving, and I responded to them. I do not have any plans to leave. I love my neighborhood. I don't want to leave. But what I do want to do is I want to be prepared should it come down to that. And that's the point of this podcast. It's going to be all about what different visas are out there, what different countries require, what different countries are like as far as living there. We're going to talk to some people who have already expatriated so that you can be equipped to make that decision, either if you already know you want to make it, or if you think, well, I might make that decision at some point, but I want to be equipped with the best information possible. Maybe that's the boat you're in. That's the boat I'm in. I hope I stay here. I love my neighborhood. I love San Pedro very much. I don't have any plans to leave it anytime soon. But if it comes down to that someday, I want to be prepared. And that's what this new podcast series is going to be all about. But in the meantime, check out Shameka's website. Again, that's ShamekaParrish-Wright.com. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. We will be back on Thursday for the headlines show of the week. And until then, you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow, and I say, oh, wait, tour dates. I do got them. Little rusty, folks. Had a couple weeks off because I was on tour, so forgot to mention the tour dates. But Iceland, I'm going to be at your Fringe Festival. I'm going to be at the Reykjavik Fringe Festival. That festival runs from June 24th to July 3rd. My show should be finalized next week. I'll be announcing when my specific shows are, and you can get tickets for that on their Fringe website. And also, Graham Elwood and I have some tour dates coming up. July 28th, Portland, Oregon. July 29th, Seattle, Washington. July 30th, Vancouver, British Columbia. Those will likely be my last tour dates for 2022. So get tickets now. Northwest, we can't wait to see you. Get tickets now, ronplacone.com. That's myself and Graham Elwood co-headlining shows. July 28th, Portland. July 29th, Seattle. July 30th, Vancouver. ronplacone.com for those tickets. Guys, thank you so much for being here. And we'll be back on Thursday. In the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow. I say peace, love, and a general strike.